So we've audited over 200 Klaviyo accounts at this point, and there are dozens of mistakes that we see brands are constantly making that cost them thousands in lost revenue every single month. And so we put together this list of the top 11 that we see that are the most impactful in terms of lost revenue, whether it's deliverability, campaign segmentation, etc., or even just how the flows are actually set up. And most brands don't realize that they're making these mistakes because everything appears to be working, but working and optimize are two different things. And so now we're going to hop into the top 11 most common and costly mistakes that we see. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Matthew Gale. I'm the founder of the Kaizen Blitz. We're a full-service retention and lifecycle marketing partner that helps e-com brands convert more customers, increase MRR, and drive higher lifetime values. We've generated over $30 million for 100 plus brands such as Rest.com, Dr. Kellyanne, Meet a Red Light, Under Luna, Hank's Belts, and many more. Here are my social media profiles down below, and also you can get access to this document in the description of this video. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, so number one is smart sending. So smart sending prevents emails from being sent if someone received another email within a sent window. So usually 16 to 24 hours. Brands enable this thinking that they're not being spammy to their customers, but in reality, it's just killing the revenue. And here's why. So let's say you send out a campaign promotion, and this is to your entire email list or a certain segment. So you send out this campaign, goes out to 9,000 people. People open up the email, they click on it, they go to the product page, they add it to their cart, but then they don't check out, they don't buy. Generally, your abandoned cart flow should trigger. It should remind them of that product that they added to their cart within a few hours, let's say 3 hours, to get them to come back and complete the purchase. But if you have this setting turned on, then that email won't be sent out, that customer won't be notified, and therefore you lost a sale. And so now your high intent buyers who just engage with the campaign don't receive the most profitable follow-up emails, and that leads to lost revenue and fewer orders sold. I see a lot of brands leave this on for whatever reason. Just turn it off for every revenue critical flow, such as abandoned cart, browse abandonment. These flows should fire no matter what. Mistake number two is leaving double opt-in enabled. So this one's a big deliverability and conversion rate killer. So let's say someone lands on your website, they love what they see, and then they sign up for email list to get your discount through a pop-up. They put in their email address, they sign up, it says, hey, go check your inbox to receive your discount code, and then they don't receive anything. Instead, what they receive is an email asking them to confirm their subscription first. And so what happens, or what ends up happening, is that a big percentage of those people just don't end up confirming. They either forget, they get frustrated, or they assume something went wrong. And so right there, you just lost a subscriber and a potential customer. And then this just eventually leads list growth and hurts conversion rates. And so double opt-in creates a lot of friction in the customer experience right when people are most engaged. And that's not what you want. Generally, the fix is just to turn off double opt-in unless you're getting excessive bounces or spam complaints. Instead, you should just send the incentive immediately, like the offer, the discount, the coupon, and let your list cleaning strategy handle the bad emails. So if you don't know already, you could do it at either the account level, so the Klaviyo account level, or your Klaviyo list. Here's a step-by-step guide on how to do this on the account level and list level. I'm not going to get into this here today, but just follow the guide. It's very straightforward. You'll be able to do it yourself. Mistake number three is you're emailing your entire list and you shouldn't be. So the simplest way to get lower open rates, poor deliverability, declining campaign performance over time is by emailing your entire list. This is still something I see a lot of brands are doing. And it's surprising. Like I'm actually genuinely baffled at the fact that people are still doing this, but this kills engagement. And so when you are emailing people who consistently are not opening or clicking, email service providers are noticing this stuff. Google, Yahoo, AOL, all those guys are seeing people are not engaging with you. And so your sender reputation is going to drop, and then your emails are going to start landing in spam, even for engaged subscribers, which is not something you want to happen. So the quick fix is just building engagement-based segments. Only email people who've opened or clicked in the last 30 to 90 days. Suppress highly engaged customers who have already bought in your welcome abandoned flows. And then target campaigns based on purchase history, product interest, and engagement levels. Make some segments, exclude some people, and make sure that you're not emailing your entire list because that can really lead to bad deliverability. Mistake number four, your flow timing is all wrong. Timing is everything, especially in email marketing. So if you're waiting 3 days to follow up with someone with your welcome flow or your abandoned cart flow, it's already too late. If you have 3 emails in your welcome flow and stretch across 7 days, the truth is that your lead, that person that signed up to your email list, has already forgotten about you and moved on. people's attention spans are so low nowadays, and they have so many different things trying to get their attention, that you really have to just follow up with them and be persistent. If someone abandons their cart, it's much better to follow up with them a few hours after the fact than wait 2 weeks, because the likelihood that you're gonna recover that sale after 2 weeks is gonna be, it's virtually zero. So the truth is, the longer you wait to send an email in the time flow, the less likely they are to engage and convert into customers. As you can see here on this side of the welcome flow, the first email sent out, then this is waiting 3 days, and then the second email sent out. You don't want to be waiting 3 days to send out the second email in your welcome flow. Same thing here on the third email, it takes 4 days to send out the third email. That's a no-go. You want to send after the first email, you wait a day, you send out the second one, you wait a day, and then you send out the third one, right? That's a pretty good consistent cadence, because you're showing up in their inbox. Same thing with abandoned cart flow. You don't want to wait 3 days. You should follow up with them a few hours after the fact. So all these timing benchmarks within your flows, I have them listed out for a welcome flow, browse abandonment, abandoned cart, and abandoned checkout. I'm not going to get into them too deep here, but then just make these the actual initial timings for each flow, and then space them appropriately after the fact. Mistake number 5, like we were just saying, your welcome flow is way too long. And we could say the same thing for abandoned cart, browse abandonment, abandoned checkout, post purchase. But this is what I see commonly with the welcome flow, is that it's just way too long. More emails in your welcome flow does not mean more revenue. The general standard for a welcome flow, if you don't know, is roughly 4 to 6 emails, which is good enough to introduce a prospect to your brand, the products you sell, and why you're better than alternative solutions. And what we see time and time again is that the first 3 emails, and I've seen this across maybe, like I said, 100, 200 different Klaviyo accounts, the first 3 emails are going to drive 80 to 90% of total revenue and clicks to the website from this flow. And then after that, revenue and engagement is going to drop heavily into the later emails. So once you get into 4, 5, 6, that revenue is going to fall off like a cliff. I still see a lot of 8 or 7 and 8 figure brands add more than 6 emails to their welcome flows, some as long as like 15 plus emails over the course of like 2 months, believing that these are going to drive even further revenue engagement. But in reality, what happens is that your engagement plummets by email 7 or email 8, and you instead start seeing declining engagement, you hurt your deliverability, and you're just wasting email sends that aren't driving revenue. Try to avoid this. Do not add in a ton of different emails within these flows. It's not just the welcome flow, it's every single flow, because most of the time these are not necessary. Clean it up, and then just make it more concise. That's all there is to do it. So keep your welcome flow at 5 to 7 emails maximum. Focus your energy on optimizing the first 3 emails, because those are going to be the highest leverage emails in the entire flow. And every incremental improvement there within the first 3 emails is going to drive a lot more returns than building out an additional 5 emails and throwing that in the flow. It's just not going to happen. So if you want to continue nurturing, send them into a separate flow with a no-brainer offer, or just suppress them entirely and focus on campaigns. Mistake number 6, your attribution settings are lying to you. So wrong attribution settings don't just affect reporting, they affect your business decisions. So if you're over attributing revenue to email or your Klaviyo account, let's say 50% or more of your monthly revenue is coming from Klaviyo, you're going to think it's printing money. You're going to think it's a money printer. We got to overinvest in this. We got to keep going. We got to put more resources into this. If you're under attributing, let's say 5 or 10% of your monthly revenue is coming from Klaviyo, you might just cut budget from your most profitable channel. You won't invest enough resources into it. You'll say, hey, let's put our focus and energy into something else. And honestly, you want to make sure that you have the proper attribution settings set up here so that you can make really good business decisions overall. So the fix is just make sure you have these attribution windows and settings enabled in Klaviyo for the most accurate reporting. So email time frame, generally this is a 5-day click, 5-day open window. I like to cut it down to like a 3-day open window. I've split tested this back and forth with Triple Whale, with Northbeam, to make sure it's the most accurate as possible. And this is generally what I get with clients. A 3-day open window, a 5-day open window is a little too long. 3 days is just the right amount of time. That's always a good window to base off of the engagement. In terms of SMS, you always want it to do a 1-day, 24-hour click window. You don't want to do anything with when it was delivered. And then a tracking reporting, make sure you exclude bot interactions from clicked email, from clicked text message, and then exclude Apple Mail privacy protection. And then also important, set this once and don't change it. If you keep adjusting attribution, you'll have a much harder time accurately tracking performance. So if you change it up once a month or a few times in a few months, it's really going to screw you up. Mistake number 7, you're not compressing your images. I say this all the time too. Large images, such as more than a megabyte, can slow down email load times and trigger deliverability issues. Even though most people have fast internet nowadays with 5G and fiber internet, email service providers like Google, AOL, Yahoo, they still care about the file sizes. They don't want them to be overly large because that is a sign of spammy or fishy activity. A lot of spammers will try to overload an email with a bunch of images that can't load. And because these providers don't know what's in these images, they can't read the images. They can't understand what's in them unless you don't put in alt text. So make sure you use a tool like TinyPNG or a compressed PNG to compress all the images before uploading into Klaviyo. Keep them under a megabyte each so that they're not taking up so much file space. All right, mistake number 8, you're missing alt text on your images. So please, like Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, are moving toward AI-powered email summaries. So if you haven't heard this already, they're already coming up with ways to summarize your inbox so that every single email is summarized based on the contents. So if your images don't have alt text, these systems can't understand your content. They might flag your emails as spam or provide poor summaries to recipients. So make sure that, as you can see here, how it's set up in Klaviyo, make sure you add alt text here. Make sure you add descriptive alt text to every image. Describe what's in the image and any promotional content that's inside. If there's text, you can honestly just just copy and paste the text from the image into the alt text box. This helps with accessibility, deliverability, and AI summarization. Mistake number 9, your emails aren't optimized for mobile. So this is a big one I see a lot of brands are missing up, and it really just comes down to how you set up your emails within Klaviyo. So your email may look perfect on a desktop while you're designing it, but because obviously we're designing our emails on desktops, but over 41% of email opens are on a mobile device. When you're building an email with static images and you're just taking that and uploading that as a full email, just like we did here, like in this example right here, this is a full slice image. This is like, this text is just an image itself. If you do that, then you're most likely fine, right? But when you're building with dynamic elements such as like a text block, a table split, product blocks, dynamic product feeds, these elements need to be configured for mobile viewing. So otherwise you're just going to run into poor user experience, lower click rates, and lost conversions. So as you can see here of this email, here's the desktop version. Here's a subhead, here's some copy. This is an image, here's some more copy, and then here's a CTA button. On the right hand side, we have the mobile versions. So we have this left hand side, this left mobile version is unoptimized and the right one is optimized. On the left mobile version, you can see this subhead hasn't dynamically changed to the viewing platform, right? So it's still the same size as the desktop version and takes up so much more space. On the other end of that, you look at this text below it here, this also hasn't changed in font size. It hasn't been squished down. And so it's going to take up so much more space. And the same thing with the CTA button here. So whenever you're building these out, you want to make sure that these are properly being changed based on whether it's desktop or mobile. And it's just on how you build it out within Klaviyo. So keep that in mind. Keep that body text at least 13 points. Headlines should be between like 18 to 28, depending on what kind of headline it is. If you're using side-by-side elements such as like tables or splits, make sure that they stack vertically and properly on mobile. Images should be big enough to actually see when they're being stacked. So like making sure that this image is clearly legible on mobile. And then CTAs should be easy to tap, properly sized. And then also always preview the emails on mobile before sending. That's also just a key thing there too. Mistake number 10, you're not suppressing your list. So we saved this client. Here's an example here on the screenshot. We saved this client $690 on their monthly Klaviyo bill just by helping them suppress their email list properly. So Klaviyo charges based on active profiles. That means if 3% of your list never opens your emails, isn't opening up your emails, they're not engaging with you guys, and after sending them like 15 or 20 different email campaigns, you're just paying for that dead weight in your monthly billing. So, and even worse, emailing unengaged subscribers is going to hurt deliverability, and email service providers are just going to see that. It's going to hurt your sender reputation, and then they're going to send you to spam. Clean your list, improve your deliverability, and save hundreds, even thousands of dollars per month by suppressing these segments. So be sure to look at subscribers who have never opened or engaged your emails before. They haven't opened or clicked an email in the last 6 months, or they've bounced their emails. If they've done this or they haven't done this, they should be suppressed. And honestly, we've helped our clients save $2,000 or even more per month on their Klaviyo bill just by properly segmenting, suppressing segments who weren't engaging with their emails. And also keep in mind, if you're migrating to Klaviyo and haven't emailed your list in like 3 to 6 months, you have to clean your list. Otherwise, you're just going to tank your deliverability and you're just going to go straight to spam. Mistake number 11, you're missing the abandoned cart flow. So between Shopify and Klaviyo, there are 4 main customer behavior events that trigger abandonment flows. I see a lot of brands don't miss this, so this is like a really important one. Number 1 is active on site. So this is when someone's browsing your website, like the homepage, the About Us page, anywhere on the website. View product is the second one. So this is the browse abandonment flow. They've looked at a specific product in a certain collection. Added to cart is the abandoned cart flow. So they clicked abandoned, added to cart, but haven't gone to checkout yet. And number 4 is the started checkout. So this is the checkout abandonment. They've hit the checkout page in Shopify. They just hadn't clicked purchase. So most brands have their browse abandonment flow and their abandoned checkout flow set up, but generally most of the time they're missing the middle step, which is added to cart, the abandoned cart flow. So this is for people who have added something to their cart but never made it to checkout. It's a really important touch point that most brands are miss or end up leaving revenue on the table on. So set up an abandoned cart flow that triggers when someone adds to cart but doesn't proceed to checkout within 2 hours. And make sure just to address any hesitations, adding more items to their cart, building a wish list, getting distracted before finishing, or even giving them free shipping. Generally, that could help out get them over the line, and this could drive a lot of revenue to your bottom line. And lastly, bonus mistake, you're emailing subscription customers in your campaigns. So if you have a subscription product, if you sell supplements, skincare, hair care, any sort of care, you would think that emailing those subscription customers regularly would be helpful to keep them engaged, reduce churn, etc., and making sure that they're receiving regular campaigns. But from what we've seen across dozens of subscription brands, this is actually backwards. You don't want to be constantly emailing these customers, and here's why. So issue number one is inflated campaign revenue. When you're emailing subscription customers, your promotional emails, your campaigns, and their billing cycle falls within your attribution window, so within 3 to 5 days, Klaviyo attributes that subscription revenue to your campaign. So your campaigns look like they're performing a lot better than they actually are, which is not what you want to see. Like, you don't want to say, hey, this campaign performed really well, but no, it was just sent out the day before the first of the month, and that's when a lot of people get rebilled. And issue number 2 is increased churn. So every email is a reminder that they have an active subscription with you. So the more you email them, the more you're prompting them to think about whether they're still using the product, whether they still need it, whether they should cancel. You're inadvertently increasing churn by keeping their subscription top of mind. And because of those 2 issues, we see higher subscription churn and inaccurate campaign reporting. So just exclude these active subscription customers from your regular campaign sends. They don't need promotional emails. They're already customers. Unless it's like a huge sale or discount, like Black Friday, 4th of July, Memorial Day, go ahead and do that. Email them, let them know about the discount or the sale. But honestly, just focus on people who are non-subscribers. So that's it. We covered all the 11 common mistakes that I see oftentimes in Klaviyo. But fixing these is just the beginning. If you want to audit your entire Klaviyo account, build high converting flows, optimize your email program, here's how we can help. So number 1, you go click in the description below. You'll see a bunch of social media profile handles down there for Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. You can follow me down there for more helpful tips and guides. 2, if you clicked another link in the description below to this document, you can also get access to all these other free guides, such as our email segmentation strategy handbook, welcome flow guide, pop-up playbook, email campaign playbook, etc. And number 3, if you want to work with us, if you're an e-com brand doing over $1 million per year in revenue on average, and you want expert help with your email and SMS marketing, book a free consultation call below where we will review your current email strategy and segments, identify your biggest opportunities, share customized recommendations, and then also show you exactly how you approach your account. So we only work with brands doing $1 million per year or more who are serious about retention marketing, the long-term growth channel. Book a free consultation call here. Otherwise, take care. I'll talk to you soon.